Well, good evening once again to everyone who is online. As I was saying, we are going to look into the chapter on this book of the essence of self-realization, which are sayings, conversations of Paramhansa Yogananda he had with his disciples, stories of Yogananda. And today, we are going to focus on the topic of meditation. That I encourage you very deeply to go to this chapter, because Yogananda, we all, I'm assuming that everybody who's here must be meditating, but as important as having the right technique to meditation, to having the time to meditate and all that, is what kind of attitudes we bring to our meditation, how we approach the subject of meditation, what are we trying to aspire in our meditation, and that Yogananda says very many beautiful things to his disciples here, very encouraging things, as well as many little tricks on how to go deeper in your own meditation. So I really encourage you all to read all of them, because of course we cannot go through all of them individually. And he starts by saying that the soul loves to meditate. The ego is the one that doesn't like to meditate. Because of course, when we go into deep meditation, and even when we are trying to calm our thoughts to whatever degree we can, we feel a little bit of who we truly are. We feel a little bit of our soul essence, that soul that is one with the infinite. So, in our higher self, meditation is the best practice that we can have, because it's what it brings us to that connection that we all want to have. I said, be careful, but whenever you don't feel like meditating, and how many times we feel like we don't want to meditate, how many times we say, oh, I'll do it later, I'm hungry now, I'll do it after breakfast, I'll do it right before lunch, and then lunchtime comes and you're feeling hungry again, and oh, I'll have a deep meditation tonight, and then when the night comes, you're feeling too tired, you're feeling sleepy, and in the end, you never get to your meditation, or there's 100 million excuses that the ego will invent, that your mind will try to bring to you, to tell you, no, you should not meditate right now, there are other important things. Well, there is nothing more important than being in touch with our soul, with our inner peace, you could say, with our inner joy. And so beware that whenever you find yourself with some sort of excuse, take a moment and see, is the ego talking to you? Most probably he will be talking to you. And you should be aware of that. Because, as Yogananda said, those who procrastinate will never find God, will never find what they are looking for. And as it is also, as I said, there's a billion excuses that one can make. And most importantly, so many times we are trying to wait for the right circumstances, the right place to meditate, the right cushion, whatever it may be. And Yogananda made a point saying, when you are tired, when you're wanting to fall asleep, you can fall asleep anywhere. In a car, in a train, in a plane. Some people fall asleep while they're standing, waiting in a line. And so it is that we should develop that desire to meditate so deeply that no matter if we're in a train station, if we are in a plane, if we are traveling by car, we should be able to some degree, go into a meditative stage, like at least to be able to observe our breath, at least to be able to calm our thoughts to some degree. And he is urging us to develop that, to be aware of the ego tendencies that want us to not meditate, So I want to also read a little passage from this book. It's number 5 on the chapter 18. Don't feel badly if you find yourself too restless to meditate deeply. Calmness will come in time. If you practice regularly, calmness will come in time if you practice regularly. Just never accept the thought that meditation is not for you. Remember, calmness is your eternal, true nature. And that's the second step that happens, that whenever we do get ourselves to meditate, yes, a devotee, at least in this path, we should at least meditate twice a day, morning and evening, because that's what we have told ourselves to do. But nevertheless, whenever we get ourselves to sit down and meditate, we find that most above all our mind becomes very restless, that we have 1,000 different projects, and it is for many people, for most people, it is very difficult to start to meditate or to meditate deeply. And it's wonderful that here Yogananda is saying that don't worry, it is normal. In time, the more you try, this calmness, this natural state of ours will come into the forefront, and you will find that meditation comes much easier. Meditation is one of those things that, I mean, like everything else, the more you practice, the easier it will become. But many times it seems that you have practiced for many years and still you are getting nowhere. Well, never despair, because, as Yogananda said, in time you will get there. In time, you will also look back and see that indeed you have improved in your meditations, that indeed you are able to become calmer, easier, that you are less reactive to this world. And you never know, because as it is said in the Bible, God comes like a thief at night, unexpected. The fact that you are putting that constant effort will draw His grace at His own time, not at the time that you want, at the time that He wants. In the Gita, it says, Krishna encouraged the devotee to practice nishkam karma in everything, action without desire for the fruit of action. And Yogananda said, this is the same attitude we have to have in meditation. It is a very interesting thing, because when we meditate, we should, in a way, go for the results of meditation, meaning we want to feel calm, but at the same time, we should not be looking for them. It's a very strange thing, because wanting to be peaceful, wanting to be joyful is what that can influence us to meditate, is what we are seeking in our meditation. But you're going to say, even then, if you don't get them, don't be attached. And also, you should not strive so much for them, in the sense of, if not, you will get disappointed. That meditation is also an act of nishkam karma. It's a very subtle point on how to go about in that. But something that is very important for all of our meditations, that again Yogananda said, whenever you go to meditate, if you want to feel joy, go into your meditation with a sense of joy. If you want to feel peace, go with a sense of peace. In the same way, if you want to be able to concentrate your mind, go with the goal from the very beginning to be able to calm your mind. That first step, that first attitude that we bring into our meditation will most likely determine a lot of our meditation, or most of it, really. The attitude we bring into our meditation is what we will get in return. And in this topic of regularity, I want to tell you a very little story that has happened to me. That some years ago, I used to run a little cafe, some of you may know, in our property outside Pune. And that was my main job, really. And it was a very challenging job for me in some ways. I tried to do it as joyful as I could, and it certainly brought joy to other people because they enjoyed the products that I sold. But many times most of the time I had to wake up very early, especially when Swami Kriyananda was there and there was a lot of people, wake up very early to go and bake cookies, bake cakes, whatever it may be, get the place ready. And then I would have to, again, go out very late at night, sometimes past midnight, because I will feel very bad if somebody will come and ask me for something and I will not give it to them. So some people used to come at 11 o'clock or 11:30. I will be cleaning everything, and when I think I'm done, somebody will come, and I will have to dirty many things again, and then clean again, and so on and so forth. It will happen very often. But I remember, no matter what, I made it a point to meditate at least a little bit before going there and after, when I went back to my house. No matter how tired I felt, I did it. And I had to tell you, some of those meditations have been the most blessed in my entire life. And I do really believe it is because of that effort. Yogananda said that we should put depth of meditation above the length of our meditation. If we can do both, it's even better, of course. But never underestimate the power of a short, concentrated meditation. If you go with the right attitude at the beginning, you will find much more easy to go deep. But never skip your meditation, because that regularity, that effort that we put will draw God to us eventually at His own time. As Yogananda said, we should not expect Him to come if we meditate a little bit here and there, but He may come. You should go to every meditation with the attitude, this is the one. In this meditation, He will reveal Himself to me. And that's the attitude that, with that expectancy, we should go to our meditation, with that joy. And you will see that you will find it much more easy to meditate. Now I'll let Shamini share with us.
So good evening, friends, and it's a joy truly to be here once again, diving into this book. The thrilling thing about Yoganandaji's teachings, and especially something like meditation, is he picks it up from so many different angles, so many different aspects, that it is such a vast topic. And so one of the things that I wanted to touch on mainly this evening is the quality of expansion that comes through meditation. And as he starts in the paragraph that I'm going to share with you, he's talking about essentially, as we're walking through nature, and nature, again, it's a great way to begin to feel that sense of expansion beyond ourselves, beyond our limited reality. He's saying when you're walking outdoors, try to feel through the leaves that are moving, the wind that's moving through the leaves, the inspiration of God. When you listen to the birds chirping, try to feel the divine gently, as he puts it here. I want to say it exactly because it's so sweet. He says, listen to the birds singing and feel that God, through their songs, is trying to reach you with feelings of divine gladness. And this morning I woke up, and we're fortunate we live in a very beautiful area in Pune. And you could hear the birds chirping, and they just wake you up. And there's something so thrilling about it. But are we able to feel that sense of divine gladness behind the chirp of the bird? Are we able to see God's presence through the leaves of the trees? When the sun rays fall on our skin, are we able to feel God's presence touching us, healing us, warming us? And that, in a sense, is a sense of expansion that is so thrilling, because you get beyond this limited body, this limited reality. There's this beautiful affirmation of Swami Kriyananda, where he talks, it's about self-expansion, and it goes, I feel myself in the flowing brooks, in the raging wind upon the mountains, in the flight of birds, and in the gentle breeze going through the flowers. So this is something that, you think about it, and it's something so much bigger, but it's so rich if you look around you and you're able to actually feel yourself in all these aspects. Now, it seems very well, but most of the time, we may be like, my God, that's such a huge term. I mean, I'm just this tiny little form. I have a busy life, I don't have the time. I don't even know where to begin. How do I feel that kind of expansion? And the truth is that comes, the only way that probably comes is through meditation. Why that is, it could be, there was this devotee that he talks about in this book again, where he shares that the devotee was saying to him, Master, I feel afraid of going into the breathless state. And the master replies consolingly, and he says that don't worry, that's normal, because he compares our mind to that of a bird that is caged. And if a bird is caged for a long time and you open the cage, the bird may kind of tiptoe out and it may go out, but all of a sudden the vastness that's available to it may seem too big. And then it quickly runs back into the cave and wants to stay there, into the cage, and wants to stay there. And just like that, our mind too, when we touch certain states in meditation, it can seem a little overwhelming at first, until we train ourselves, we train the mind to accept that there's a reality beyond our limited self. And so like that with the bird, eventually as it gains the confidence, it starts to move out and gradually it soars upward into freedom. And he tells us that that freedom, as natural, as normal as it is for that bird to fly in freedom, that's how natural it is for the soul to fly in bliss, to be in freedom. And so that kind of freedom, that expansion that comes through meditation, comes because when we meditate, we go beyond this conscious realm, the thinking, the logical mind. We reach into a reality of the superconscious. And that's the source of peace, the source of all these divine qualities, the source of this true, deep joy. Once you touch that, you're then able to bring that into every aspect of your life. Then say you go out for a walk and you watch the breeze through the leaves, you're probably able to relate to it from a level that's much beyond the logical mind. And so it is that meditation, to practicing these techniques that are given to us by Yogananda ji, if you don't already know it, we offer them at Ananda. But essentially, if we look at it, what is meditation? And a few basic principles that Yogananda ji tells us, as he's explaining even in this book, he tells us that a bent spine is the enemy of self-realization. And when you think about it, you know, keeping a straight spine versus bending it, the other time, like a few weeks ago, I was telling a dear friend on the path that we need to do this. And it wasn't a very exciting task. And it was very cute. He just got up like this and he was like, let's do it. You know, and it just kind of straightened his posture, and that kind of helped him move the energy and bring this sense of enthusiasm into the task that needed to be done, whether it's pleasing to the ego or not, whether you want to do it or not. It's that sense of dynamic enthusiasm that comes from sitting like this versus kind of sitting in a passive attitude. So that we know about keeping a straight spine, and also try it yourself during the day. Even if you're not meditating, you're sitting at the computer, you're sitting in your work, try to keep a straight spine and see how that affects the state of your mind, the state of your thoughts, your energy levels begin to rise, you're able to breathe. And then he talks about concentrating at the point between the eyebrows, as we did in the meditation before this, focusing all your awareness at that, practicing the techniques that he's given. But once we finish the techniques, it's very important, he says, to sit in that stillness, in that deep peace, because that's where we're able to really go deep into this reality of peace, let it become a part of our being. And once that happens, you're able to develop your intuition, you're able to then expand into a reality that's much higher than a limited one. And once we leave from there, from that meditation, we go out into nature, we go out into the world, we're able to expand ourselves, to feel ourselves in that flowing brook, in the gentle breeze that's dancing through the flowers. You know, Swami Kriyananda, our founder, he, in the communities that he created such beautiful garden spaces. Like our community in America attracts thousands of visitors every year to see the tulips that blossom every year. And the reason that he did it, yes, on one level it's beautiful just in that flowers in itself is beautiful, nature in itself is beautiful, it's uplifting. But the reason why it's so touching is because it reminds us of God. It reminds us of that divine touch in ourselves that we can feel so easily in this kind of beauty, that you're able to go beyond your limited self that's stuck in the cage and just come out of there and soar and realize that everything is the divine, everything, and I am part of that reality. And so let's try to see through our meditation, yes, as Bara was saying, regularity and just trying to do it as much as we can, but also starting to enjoy that, bring those qualities that you touch in your meditation into everything in life, and just see how everything around you begins to uplift, change, expand, and we begin to be free and just rise above this limited reality. Joy to you.